Hi, and welcome to another edition of 409 Sports X's and O's. It is the first week of the high school football playoffs. So if you're on the show, that means something good has happened.
That means something good happened. That's right.
That's right. Here, our head coach, Allen DeShazo, second year over at Bridge City. And let's look back at last week because we're out there live in Nederland, okay, at Mid-County Madness. And we have a reporter out at the Bridge City game. Now, we knew of one scenario where you had to win by 11 points.
Correct.
But we didn't know the result yet between Lumberton and LCM. So we haven't got to those highlights yet. So we see the final score, and I'm like, and Bridge City win, but it's not by enough points. And then we go out, and we start hearing in our ear, wait, everything's worked out with Lumberton and LCM, and you're in the playoffs. Tell me about those emotions and the roller coaster there.
Well, it was one of those deals where we had people all week. I said, look, I've got to know what the score is at all times. So I don't really ask until halftime. And then at halftime, I got word, they just said, all they said was keep scoring. I said, okay. I said, well, how many? He said, it's 14-0. And okay, we're good. We're up by 4.
Yeah.
So another score makes it 11. And then we're playing, and it seemed like every drive we would march down, and then we would have a penalty. We'd march down, we'd have a bad snap. So we're punting, but we're in their side of the field all night. And then I get word that it's tied going to overtime, and we have the ball going in at on the 10. Mm-hmm. So you kind of want to slow it down and see what happens, kind of
Exactly.
waiting to hear. And whenever I hadn't heard anything, I keep looking back, I hear nothing. So we throw a ball in the end zone and turn it over. And it's kind of like,
no.
Yeah,
Yes.
that just happened. So we've got all of our timeouts, and we've got them pinned. And it's like 3rd and 12. And I just kind of turn and look, and they tell me that it's over, Lumberton won. So I had to make sure, clarification. So we burn a timeout to go tell our kids, just win the game, win the game. And a few of them said, no, Coach, we got to take the ball back. We got to get the ball back. I'm like, no, guys, you don't.
Not at this point.
Not right now. And it hit a couple of them that what had happened, and we had broke the news to them that you got to defend about a minute and a half. They're out of timeouts. Just play defense, tackle, and you're in. And that's exactly what happened. And it was just a crazy night from beginning to end. Random people yelling at me from the stands, yelling from the sidelines of what the score is, and why are you throwing? You have the lead, and it's just it was a lot to explain, and it was just a crazy atmosphere. But at the end of the night, when you saw the kids' faces, it was totally worth the craziness and totally worth the headache.
I talked to Coach Lewis early on this year when, going back to a circumstance when he was at Ozan and where the points were, it was fine for them to lose that game. So when they lost, they're celebrating on the field, and their fans are like, what are you doing? But that got them into the playoffs.
Right.
What does it add to your, agenda, if you will, for a Friday night when you're having to keep up with points and what's going on in another game?
It adds a lot. Our thought was we were just going to focus on the 11 points, and we weren't going to worry about it until it got to a point, late in the second half where we needed to really focus on it. But it was in the back of our minds, and we had kept a 4-point lead for the whole night. So we're thinking, okay, we got a 4-point lead. Just a touchdown makes it 11. There's no stress, no worries. And, all of a sudden, whenever it's late and it's, what do we do? Do we just win the game? Do we hit the 11? So we try for the 11. And then before I'd actually known for about a minute, the thought was, I'm not going to take a win away from these kids by trying to do something crazy.
Yeah.
We're just going to try to win the game now. And I said it was about 30 seconds to a minute when we got the word that it was all good finally. And it puts you in a position to where you don't want to take a win away from a kid in your group that's been working so hard, but you also don't want to take a playoff trip away from them because you're just trying to win and the scenarios. So it puts a lot on us. And we're trying to do quick math on our fingers and our heads the whole time and to see what we're up by. And I'm just happy that it worked out the way it did.
And you got to have somebody you can trust giving you that score, because if they flip-flop a score, that's the worst time ever.
Exactly. I had a few very reliable people that were feeding me information, so I trusted them. And, of course, whenever I got the word, I had to ask twice, are you sure? Are you sure? Make sure before I do anything. And they were sure.
Now, bring me to where the team was on that night compared to just 2 weeks before that. You're looking for a district win at this point. You need to get one over Livingston, Splendora, anything can happen.
Right.
What changed? What started working for you?
Well, we knew going in after the first two, we had Huffman and LCM, we lost those two. We had known, if you win your last 3, you're in. And, the Lumberton game it was just such a crazy night that it seemed like nothing we did worked. And we played hard. We look back at the numbers. We played hard. We did some good things, but just nothing clicked all night. And we had a very animated discussion the Monday going into the Livingston week about what we got to do, the goals they set. If you still want it to happen, this is what we have to do. We have to eliminate turnovers. We have to eliminate careless penalties and just these little things here and there that we had to avoid. And we come out in the first drive, we lose our starting quarterback in the Livingston game.
Right.
And our backup and one of our receivers, Colby Collins, steps in and just did an amazing job leading us. He rolled this week, takes care of business, great leader. Lucky to have somebody like that can step in. And from there, they just kind of rallied around the challenge, and they made it happen.
Now, what does it say about this group that that they stayed focused on the big prize? You could get down when you drop your first 3 district games,
right,
and you're facing basically the playoffs started for you after those first 3 weeks of district.
They did.
That's when the playoffs started. What's it say about this group?
It says a lot about them. They set this goal back in November of last year. When the season ended, we came in, we talked the first week we get done, and it was a big, what do we want to do next year? What do we want to do? The non-district schedule's not changing. What do we want to do? And it was, Coach, we're making the playoffs. We're making the playoffs. We're making the playoffs. It wasn't we want to get in. It's we're making the playoffs. And that's kind of where that meeting we had before Livingston came back is you guys wanted to do this. Mm-hmm. Don't forget the work you put in from November all the way through August in the summer, and then back at it again when we started football back. It's just a testament to those guys. They had a goal in mind. They've worked super hard, and the best part of it right now is our younger kids get an extra week of being around those seniors. With their leadership and their determination, they get to see extra weeks of that, which we're very thankful for.
That's what people don't really realize. Your whole group gets to work out and practice as long as you're in the postseason, and those extra practices are huge, especially when you're looking towards the next year.
Oh, they're huge, and they're out there every day, and they know that JV guys, you're practicing. Mm-hmm. You're here, and they're there every day, and it's just huge for them because a lot of their JVs are done. They're going on to basketball, but our kids are out there working, getting extra practice. And the luxury is we're playing people that do the same stuff we do. So even on scout team, they're running our stuff pretty much, and they just get extra work. And the chance to just be around them more is huge right now.
Now you have Navasota
Navasota
over at Huffman, and in the past, that was a former district foe. Mm-hmm. Used to be a state powerhouse, the Rattlers.
Yes.
Not saying they're not good this year,
right,
but it's not quite the same Navasota team that you might be used to when they were blowing out teams and going to state every year.
Right, and we're very thankful for that in Bridge City, I can tell you that. No, but they're still a very good football team. Very big up front. The quarterback's extremely talented. The defense makes you earn everything. They don't give up anything cheap, any big plays. The quarterback, if it's not there, he'll make something happen on his own. They're just a very good football team, and kind of like us, they started off slow until they got to district. They ran their table in district, but we're very excited about this first round matchup.
Now, you said when you look at them, they kind of mirror Bridge City.
Yes.
You're kind of looking in the mirror. How do you shut yourself down?
It's just outworking them and out executing them. Staying on our keys, not blowing assignments, not putting ourselves behind the 8 ball, not having silly turnovers, mistakes. Our Huffman game, we turned it over twice in the first 3 minutes, which led to defensive touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Lumberton, first drive, we turned it over for a defensive touchdown. So if we can limit that, that's what we're going to have to do. And we have to force the issue on them, which we need to start fast and not get ourselves behind and have to work back into it.
And with Bridge City not making the playoffs the last couple of years, it's really a whole new group getting their first playoff experience.
It is.
And how do you keep them right here, not too high, not too low, and just keep them on that even keel?
Well, our big thing is we've kept everything the same as we've done all year long. Our practices on Monday is the exact same replica of Monday in August. Tuesday was the same. Today was the same. We're not staying an extra hour because it's playoff time. We're not doing any of that. We're keeping it as business as usual because that's what they're used to. And if we start making it different, they're going to treat it different. Mm-hmm. So even though it is different, I told them today, I said, guys, I get it, it's different. But at 7 o'clock, we're still playing the same football games we played all year.
Right.
So we need to keep it as business-like as we can. We have a community pep rally tomorrow night that is great for the town, great for the kids. But like I just told them all week, you've got to keep all that stuff separated, and it's a business trip come Friday.
All right, we're going to take a quick time out here on 409 Sports X's and O's. When we come back, we're going to talk about the progress that's been made at Bridge City from year 1 to year 2 under Coach DeShazo here, and also a little bit more about his coaching philosophy, if I can talk tonight. We're going to have that coming up after the break. And welcome back to 4-on Sports X's and O's. I'm here with head coach Allen DeShazo, Bridge City Cardinals. Year 2, leading the program. You're in the playoffs. And just talk about what has changed. I mean, it hasn't been like a huge leap, right, but you can see things are going in the right direction now.
Right. We came in, we tried to keep everything when we first started last year, almost a mirror image of what we'd done. And we realized going through that, we needed to make some changes. And we changed some of the things we did offensively, tweaked a little bit of the defensive stuff, but not a whole lot. I'm more of the defensive guy. But we knew we had to change some things on offense, so we started installing it as we went last year. And we saw the growth that started going there, and this year we just jumped headfirst into it, and the kids have responded so well to it. We're throwing it probably more than Bridge City ever has in the last quite few years. We have some kids that can throw it. We have some kids that can catch it.
You also got some big guys that can run ball too.
We really like that guy right there. He's just a great runner, great blocker. He's been with us since he was a freshman.
And what's his name?
Andy Laura.
Andy Laura,
It feels like Andy's been there as long as I have. I think this is my 5th year there, and it feels like Andy's been there the whole time. But yeah, we just had to change some things up, and the kids have responded well. We changed the way we did off season last year from the years past, and we just had a complete buy-in, and it's just all on them. They knew what they wanted to do. They bought in. Anything we've said to do, they've done. No questions asked, and here they are.
Now, I'm the uniform geek, so I notice things over at Bridge City, and when coaches come in, they like to put their own stamp on things. We saw the Louisville Cardinal went bye-bye.
Right.
You bring in the BC with the state of Texas, and for the first time, I'm from here, I went to P&G, first time since the 90s, Bridge City wearing red helmets.
We do.
What was it about, putting your own stamp on things? Why did you want to change things up so much?
Well, I kind of got with the kids. We're getting new uniforms, and basically I laid out every book we had, and I said, y'all tell me what y'all want. You're wearing them. And they spent about 2 weeks trying to figure it out, and they had all that lined out. I said, oh, that's great. And they said, well, we have one more request. We want red helmets. And
yeah, that's a cost.
Yeah, I said, well, it's been white here for a long time. And the more we talked about it, I said, you know what? We're doing it. If y'all want it, we're doing it, and I think it looks great.
Yeah, you look definitely one of the sharpest looking teams out there right now. But, is that something that, it's no disrespect to the previous coach, obviously,
right,
you worked with him, but does it really feel like your program now once you change that look?
It does. Once, last year we had the same uniform, same look. We changed the logo a little bit and got to the BC with the Texas. But it does feel like more it's ours when we changed everything up, and completely different look of the way we dress, even the brands we're wearing. We made a brand switch from Nike to Adidas, the white to red helmets, and the offense is different. It does feel like more like it's ours now.
And that's always a great thing because
it's a great thing.
The team looks like it's really brought, it's got ownership now of the new look, the new style of Bridge City football. Tell us a little bit about your past. How did you end up at Bridge City? We know we've seen you around for years, but tell us a little bit how it led you to the city by the bridge.
Well, I grew up in Vidor, Texas, played football there. Coach Matthews was an assistant coach when I was there.
Team Mafia.
It's been that long, but long ago for me. But he was the offensive line coach when I was there. Went to Lamar, got hired at Hardin-Jefferson, worked up from an 8th grade coach to a freshman coach to a varsity coach. Left there, came to Bridge City for 3 years, spent 2 as a position coach, and my last as a defensive coordinator. Left and went to Little Cypress, spent 5 years there, defensive coordinator there. Went back to Hardin-Jefferson, so I kind of full circled it.
Right.
When Coach DuBois got the job, because we've been friends for a long time, and I wanted to go work with him. When he got the Bridge City job, back to Bridge City again. Came in as offensive coordinator. The last year he was here, I moved back to defense, where I spent most of my time. And then when he left, I took over here, and it's been the best thing for me.
Now, DuBois, one of those teams, winless all year. But, hey, they're going to the playoffs. They win that final, and that's all that matters. Has he been that one coach that's really, helped you along the way and kind of inspired you?
He has been. We talk all the time, and there's a lot that I do too. I talk to him. I talk to Coach Matthews since I've known him since high school. And Coach Crouch is like another father figure to me. Been with him for so long, but it's just nice in this area to be able to talk to anybody. Nobody's got egos. If you have questions, everybody will answer them. Coach Smalley at Orangefield is just right up the road. He's a Bridge City guy.
Right.
So he's got no worries answering questions I have, and we talk all the time. And it's just a really close-knit group here, and everybody's willing to help, and nobody wants to see you struggle.
Of course, and it really does seem like a fraternity here where everybody does have each other's back. I mean, you can go to different regions, and it's not like that. People aren't helping each other.
Not at all.
It's almost that small-town feel. Do you feel like a family here?
The entire area is like a one big town, it seems like,
right.
But it's one big small town. Especially here in our town. I tell our kids all the time that, I live here, it's a very small town. I'm going to know everything you do. And luckily we don't have that problem with ours, but it's nice to be able to have that to where you're around all the time. You're not spread out. And again, you can call anybody you want. A lot of times people will give you advice that you're not looking for.
Of course.
But that's small town.
Fans always have something to say, right?
That's small town too. They'll give you advice even though you're not looking for it, and you just smile and nod your head and appreciate it and move on. But that's small town Texas high school football.
Of course. And talk about, a little bit, what is your coaching philosophy? I mean, there's guys that have different approaches. What do you do?
Our big approach is if you can learn any football from us, that's great. Because our goal from the time you show up to us to the time you leave us is you're going to be a better employee, you're going to be a better son, a better father, a better husband, and just a better human altogether. And again, if you pick up any football knowledge from us, that's great. That's secondary nature to us, but we really strive on what we're going to do with you as a person, how we're going to mold you into what you need to be. And that's what's great about football is it teaches you those lessons all the time. Mm-hmm. It teaches you that you just can't say, I want to do this, and it happens. You've got to work for it. You've got to fight through adversity. Bad things are going to happen, and what are you going to do? We tell our kids all the time, if you shut down now, you'll shut down in your job. You'll shut down on your family, and you'll walk away. And we do not want that from any of our kids that come through. So that's the lessons that we try to give to them, and that's what we're all about at Bridge City is we're a family. Mm-hmm. We're going to treat you like family. Sometimes families argue. Sometimes families disagree with each other. But you're a family, and there's a path we want these kids to take. And it's very easy these days for a kid to go off the wrong path, and I don't want to say be ruined, but they can go on the wrong path and get themselves in a lot of trouble.
For sure.
And we try to guide those kids in the right direction the best we can. We nudge them and we push them all the time because we want to come back later and see you 25 years from now, and you're a married father of two with a great job and a great marriage, and that's what we're looking for in our kids.
And multiple coaches that have come on here have kind of echoed the same sentiment. Do you think that kind of represents Southeast Texas, the whole 409, that it really is more than just about football?
Absolutely. Again, like I said, this is a close-knit fraternity that we're in, and everywhere you go, you get that philosophy. I worked with Coach Peavy at LCM for 4 years. That was our philosophy under Coach Crouch. That's how we taught our kids. That's how we treated them. I know exactly how Eric treats his kids over there. I know how Coach Smalley treats his kids. I know how Coach Matthews treats his kids. And you could go to any of our schools in our area, and you're going to get the same lessons being taught, which I think is huge because if you get to the big cities, you may not get that all the time. Sometimes there's way too much priority on winning and not as much priority on building leaders, teaching kids, and just touching those kids in a way that they're going to be better citizens.
All right, and before we let you go, now, we're not going to ask you about 4A Division I because, that would be rude to ask, the teams to look out for in 4A Division I because, of course, it's Bridge City. You got to look out for the Cardinals.
That's right.
That's right. But what teams from this area do you think that have a shot of going to Jerry World, do you think?
Well, just from seeing them this year, Jasper and West Orange are on different levels. They're going to meet up with each other soon,
right.
I believe, and I don't know who's going to win it, but whoever it is definitely deserves where they're at because those are two unbelievable teams, great athletes, well coached. Whoever comes out of this region has got a real shot out between those two teams. Of course, Coach Peavy at Westbrook needs to make a trip back. Really, everybody that's in now has got a chance.
Y'all got a chance.
I mean, we played Diboll the first game of the year. I know they might not be in our region, but they're sitting at 10-0 right now.
And they beat Jasper.
And they beat
I was at
Jasper.
that game.
That was their one loss.
Yeah.
Because I would venture out to say that our non-district is probably the toughest in Texas.
For sure.
And any of those teams we played can make a run. Anahuac, Jasper, Diboll, West Orange, Silsbee, which was the Imelda week. They've got all those guys, there's just so much talent here and so many good teams that anybody can beat anybody.
That's what, and what you look at sometimes too, like a team like Silsbee, they got multiple losses, but you're 0-0 right now.
Yes.
And just like last year, they were beat up in the non-district. They didn't win their district, and they end up in the state semifinals.
Right.
So things could really open up for a lot of our teams.
Anything can happen, and there's just such great talent around this area that anything can happen. It's just a really exciting time in Southeast Texas.
All right, Coach, appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Best of luck. The Bridge City Cardinals taking on those Rattlers out of Navasota. Wishing them the best of luck. We're going to have a mini version of the 409 Sports Blitz coming up on Friday night at 10:20. We're going to keep you updated, of course, on all the scores, all the highlights on 12newsnow.com and also on our social media pages. So want to be sure to follow us. Until next week, we'll see you on 409 Sports X and O's.